Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
Write this down. Write it down. You like writing things down.
All right, boys. Today's the day where we find out how accurate or not we were with our draft-related predictions over the past few months here. It's a mixed bag. I think you guys are going to be... There's a couple really interesting ones that we'll get to in the accountability session that maybe could have gone either way here. But yeah, we're the only show, this and the OG edition of Write That Down on Minnesota Sports with Mackie and Judd, that actually puts statistics next to our predictions. You know, we're not like the Stephen A. Smiths who hope that you forget how wrong we are. We own it. We embarrass ourselves. So, Judd, let's start the show off here by taking a trip to our favorite convenience gas station combo.
Write this down. So you're upset because the Wild lost last night. It was a brutal loss. You stayed up late. You didn't get to bed until the early morning hours, and now you are tired, and so you're going to work today. I hope you stopped at Quick Trip because the Karuba coffee there, absolutely outstanding, a little pick-me-up. In fact, I hope you stopped at Quick Trip and said, man, I was so upset I forgot my lunch, but I'm right here at Quick Trip, so I can get whatever I need. That's right, Quick Trip is your one-stop shop. No matter how much a Minnesota sports team lets you down again, you have Quick Trip there to help you out. And if you don't want to face the day yet, if you didn't want to see people, that's okay. Because you could put the app on your phone and they will bring out to you what you want. That is what Quick Trip does. That is why they make being a Minnesota sports fan easy. They know the pain. They're there to help.
Amen. Yeah, it's a good new tagline. Quick Trip. We know the pain. Come on in here. Grab a banana. Grab a snack. North American Banking Company knows the pain of, you know, when you have a bad banking experience. That's why they're here to help offer a better banking experience. It's a Minnesota-based banking company, and they power Write That Down here on Purple Daily every single week. 6 locations across the Twin Cities: Maple Grove, Roseville, Shoreview, Hastings, Woodbury, and 50th in France. And I've gotten to know the people at North American Banking Company over the past 6 months or so, and I've noticed a few trends. Friendly, knowledgeable people, human interaction. Also, the safety and security of accounts is very much at the top of their list of priorities with cutting-edge online tools. So whether you're looking for just a better checking and savings experience, the basics, or something bigger like you're buying a home, looking for help with the mortgage process, tackling a renovation, or setting up a new business, North American Banking Company can help you guys. nabankco.com/Mackie to learn more. That's nabankco.com/Mackie. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Write it down. You like writing things down.
All right, dudes, let's get to the accountabilities here. Actually, here's how it works. I should explain this because some people might have just discovered Purple Daily over draft weekend. Who are these idiots?
And they're like, you hold yourself accountable? What a show.
This could be the first Write That Down Wednesday for one listener, or 10, I don't know. But it's 3 Vikings or football-related predictions from everybody on the show each week. They have to be quantifiable in some way. We keep track of completion percentage and touchdowns. We have a gigantic spreadsheet of glory that goes back years and years and years. And listeners, if you want to participate, we have a couple guest listener predictors today. You can send Declan a message through the Score North app, and we will get you scheduled for an upcoming episode. We'll start with Judd's accountability session. Are you ready? Here we go.
Let's see it.
Okay. It's a lot of red, but it's a mix.
A lot of red, but it's a little at the end. A little recovery.
We'll start with the bad here. You said by the end of the first round, there'd be no fewer than 5 trades made.
Bad beat. 4. Oof.
4 trades.
Yep, and they started hot and heavy late, so I got a little bit unfortunate there.
Yeah, teams were crawling all over themselves. Like in the teens, it was like everyone stood pat. And even there was only one trade until like the 20s.
Yeah, and then it started to go crazy, and I just needed one in the teens. I think that would have been. I think that's where I lost out.
You know, you said the Vikings will select all of these positions in the draft: a defensive tackle, a tight end, a running back. Wow, wow. The running back came UDFA style this time around. You said there'd be 4 quarterbacks taken, at least 4 quarterbacks taken in the first round of the draft.
I think I made that one a while ago. I was pretty sure at that time. Had no idea Shedeur would not. Well, would fall into day 3.
Yeah, they're kind of like some Jalen Milroe undertones in that prediction there too.
Yeah, absolutely.
You said the Vikings would take a wide receiver with their first pick in the draft. They did take one with their second pick.
Yeah.
And the Vikings would trade back from 24, but not out of the first round. But you did have a couple green ones here. You said the Vikings would sign 18 or more players to their UDFA class. This is kind of a math thing. Like you're basically saying that they would draft, because they wound up with 19 UDFAs. Mm-hmm. So like they got to fill out a 90-man roster. Mm-hmm. So this prediction in the inverse was basically they would draft 6 or fewer players.
Right.
And then you said Travis Hunter would be drafted in the top 3. Okay.
All right. Not great, but I'll take it.
Okay.
I'll take what I can get.
Okay. Kind of a similar mixed bag here for old Macadac. I said the Vikings would draft one of these 3 players: Derek Harmon, Walter Nolan, Gray Zabel. Didn't have a chance, right? I mean, all those guys were.
Yeah. The defensive tackle run was intense.
Yeah. I said Ashton Jeanty would be a top 5 pick. Oof. 6th. Said by the end of yesterday, the Vikings would have added an established NFL player, like another established NFL player, at least 15 NFL games. It's just kind of an Asante Samuel Jr. prediction. So the Vikings would draft a running back. They would trade back with either the Chiefs or Eagles.
On the established player front, do you backdoor this in with Sam Howell? Because you made this last week, right?
Wow, dude. Wow. Yes, I do. Look at that.
Wow,
You're welcome.
Declan.
Castmates helping castmates on the show here.
Yep, that's a.
Thank you, Declan.
You're welcome.
That is.
You're welcome.
Wow.
You know who wouldn't have said that out loud on the show?
He did.
Me?
I don't think did it cross your mind that was a correct prediction and you ignored it, Judd, or did it not cross your mind?
No, it didn't cross my mind because
I think he would. I think he would have held it to himself.
I was glad to see it. I was glad to see it in red. So I was I wasn't even thinking.
Yeah,
how can I help?
The spirit of the prediction was like, the comp pick formula equation date being, Monday at whatever time. But this is sometimes you gotta backdoor a prediction to play the game.
I can't believe that you didn't think of that for yourself.
I know I'm off my game here. Thank you, Declan, for looking out.
Yeah, that's great.
Declan and I have formed an alliance here.
I was gonna say I hope Declan helps me next time.
And I'll tell you that there's a Declan prediction that we'll get to it, but it's people helping people here.
Okay,
write
that's
that
just
down.
great.
Oh,
That's
here
just
we go.
great. Yeah.
Yep.
This is how it works. Politics.
I get 2025.
On the green side here, I said the Vikings would draft a running back in the first or second round, so I was all in on the running back thing. But I did say the Vikings would not add another quarterback to the roster until at least the draft. They added a couple. The Vikings would trade at least 3 times in the draft. They traded exactly 3 times.
Hey.
There'd be a Judd chant at the Purple Daily Draft Party.
Wouldn't happen if I hadn't gone to the bathroom.
I think it happened too when he took the stage, maybe.
I didn't hear it.
No? Oh.
Really?
I think when you got the flag initially and Ode to Joy was
when I
playing,
came back to the
sure.
bathroom, that's when I heard the chant.
And I got booed when I had to go. You went, and then I got up and I got booed.
I think people felt bad for like the oldest guy on the show, and
And then the youngest guy had to go, I guess.
I could not wait anymore, though. I tell you that right now. I mean,
that growing prostate,
like Shaq on the set of TNT last week.
I gotta go. And then I said there'd be 2 or fewer quarterbacks drafted in the first round. Okay, listeners, kind of a rough one here for the listeners. Jason said the Vikings' first draft pick would be a linebacker. Cole had the Vikings trading out of the first round. Ben said Vikings would select one of those 2 Ohio State running backs. Rob said the Vikings would draft Walter Nolan with the 24th pick, and Brendan said the Vikings would make a major trade, 3rd round or above, for a player, but he said or a major free agent signing. Did we not
what is that? When was that made?
Or a major free agent signing? I feel like this is like an incomplete.
Yeah, it feels like we're missing something.
We might have to revisit.
It depends on the timing. Like if he made this prediction after like the wave of free agency within the last few weeks, it's incorrect because a major trade, even for the Howell trade, it's not a third rounder or above, and it's not a major free agent signing. So it depends on the timing. Do we know when he made it?
Yep.
Well, but we would have made him quantify this. I'd have to go back and see.
Put a pin in this.
And circle back.
Take it
Brendan,
offline.
Brendan, email us and give us more context here. We may have logged this incomplete. Because if he would have made this in like February or before the free agent period and said the Vikings will have a major free agent signing, we would have made him quantify it. Yeah. So, Brendan, defend yourself via email the show, and we'll see if we can turn this one around for you. And then Cade said the Vikings' first pick will be an offensive or defensive lineman. That's correct.
There you
go. Okay, a ton of stuff off the board for Declan. You said Niners will either trade up or make multiple first-round picks. You said Vikings will take a safety or a DB within the first 100 picks. Jackson Dart would be a first-round pick, but he'd go in the top 16. Okay. Vikings would draft at least 6 players in this year's draft. The first pick would be a defensive player. Okay, this one's a little gray here, but Vikings do not draft a running back until day 3 of the draft. I think if it were at least day 3, but this is like you're making a prediction that they would draft a running back on day 3 of the draft, is how I interpret this. Draft a running back. If it would not draft a running back until at least day 3, then it's open-ended beyond the draft.
Sure. As
it's constructed, this has to be incorrect.
Yeah, I think the spirit of this was it was going to be a day 3 running back, not in day 1 or 2.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's fine.
You said Vikes would make at least 2 day 2 picks. They had 1. Titans will trade out of the first overall pick, and Vikings would trade back from 24 but stay in the first round. And now we get to the green. You said Vikings would hand out at least $240,000 in guaranteed money to a UDFA. Max Brosmer got $250 for sure. Vikings would draft a tight end. Shadur Sanders will not be drafted in the top 10. This is I think this is one where you kind of backdoored in. So you said at least 2 teams in the top 10 picks will trade out of their original pick. Well, there was one trade, obviously involving 2 teams. So technically,
Cleveland, and
Declan gets this one because the Browns and the Jaguars. In order for a trade to happen, it involves at least 2 teams. So I think that this is one where when he made the prediction, I don't know, none of us spoke up and said, is that what you mean by this? That there would be one trade in the top 10?
Right.
I think you meant that there would be multiple trades in the top 10.
But this still, yeah.
But
upon 2 reviews, because that's what we do in hockey, upon 2 reviews, this is successful.
And then Ashton Jeanty would be a top 10 pick was your last one. So
no touchdowns for anyone.
There's a couple in here that people could have fought for them, but mostly pretty chalky.
Okay.
So with that, after the draft stuff comes off the board, I'm sitting at 51.7% completions, Judd 46.5%, listeners just under 31%, and Declan on the rise here a little bit, up over 32%.
That helped.
Judd and I both have 2 touchdowns. Listeners and Declan still looking for their first touchdowns on the season, which runs Super Bowl to Super Bowl.
Okay. So it should be Phil, Judd, Declan, listeners.
Yes, that is correct. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. And I actually have a higher percentage because this was logged before we reversed that one.
Helped you out.
So you pretty much just ignore this entire page. And then Declan still leads with 36.5% completions. Listeners and myself tied with the career lead going back to 2021 with 60 career touchdowns. So, whew. Quite the accountability session. All right, we've got two guests here. We've got Camden and we've got Alex in the house. Dueling guest listener predictors, gentlemen. Let's start with Alex. Alex, what's going on with you? Give us your background as a Vikings fan, and what are those balloons behind you?
Those were for my birthday from last week.
Love it.
Okay, so I moved to Rochester, Minnesota in the winter of 77, 78 because my dad became a bigwig at Mayo Clinic. And then we didn't start becoming a season ticket holder or anything like that till later. And my first experience at a Vikings game that I can remember, Judd's gonna love this one, was we were leaving the game and we saw fans actually sawing off the bleachers with hand saws.
Wow. It's like at the old Met?
Yeah, this is the last game at the old
Chiefs
Met.
game. Yeah.
Yeah.
They climbed the scoreboard. They brought saws. They took seats out.
You could just bring a saw into a football game.
It was 1981. Things were very different then. Like guys were climbing the scoreboard.
Dude,
and
you can't even keep the bottle cap on your soda or your Aquafina
People
in 2025.
snuck in the saws and things in their winter gear.
Yeah, so that was my distinct first memory of a Vikings game, because that was our first season as a partial season ticket holder.
Yeah, they tore down the goalposts. They took turf. They took whatever they could get their hands on, and I believe there were 0 arrests.
That's pretty amazing.
It was crazy. We left. We like I said, we were leaving early because my dad didn't want to. Wanted to avoid the chaos, but we knew there was going to be chaos when we saw fans actually pulling out saws.
Boy, what a world you guys lived in, where you guys could go to a packed football game with saws, and now we can't even bring toothpaste on an airplane. You know,
Yep. And the problem now is you play indoors, so you can't have the snowmobile suit on with a flask in one pocket and a saw in the other.
It's just how I like to watch football games. Whiskey on my right hip and a saw on my left.
Yep.
So, all right, Camden, what's going on with you, man? Give us your background as a Vikings fan.
All right. Hey, guys. So I am another one of those Vikings fans from Virginia that you guys talk about all the time. I've never been to Minnesota ever. Neither is any of my family, but my dad grew up a Vikings fan watching Fran Tarkenton. So I grew up a Vikings fan, but I was also kind of a fake fan for, growing up. If you asked me who the quarterback was, when I was 15, I wouldn't tell you. I wouldn't be able to tell you. But I remember one day I decided, maybe I should sit down with my dad and watch a game one time, and that ended up being the Minneapolis Miracle. So that was pretty cool.
Wow.
So that's when I was like, all right, I'll get pretty serious about it. And then the very next game, it was the Eagles game, and I kind of got the full ride there in the first 2 games. But I need to air out some beef that I have with Mackie on this show, actually, regarding Ventline. So not actual beef, but I am actually a current student at Virginia Tech. And we just played Minnesota, in the Duke's Mayo Bowl, a couple months ago.
Sorry about your loss.
Yeah, that was the same weekend as the Lions game, the big blowout. So I remember that was a pretty rough weekend for me. And after the Lions game, I was like, man, ooh, I'm really upset right now. But I know if I turn on Ventline, a safe space for Vikings fans, it's gonna be fine. And then within the first 2 minutes, Mackie says, oh, I'm still on cloud 9 because, Duke's Mayo Bowl, Minnesota beat Virginia Tech. I've never turned a podcast off so fast. I was like,
I love that one intersection of all the people that were consuming Ventline. You were the only person standing at that intersection of being a diehard Vikings fan and a diehard Virginia Tech fan who's still salty from the night before, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a rough weekend. Man. It was a rough weekend.
Dude, the Virginia thing is kind of crazy. Like, Judd and I have worked together at either Score North or before that 1500 ESPN for about 15 years. And in the early days of 1500 ESPN, when Judd, me, and Tom Pelissero, now at NFL Network, were running that website and like providing all this written content. And we could look in the analytics and see, you know, where people would be clicking from. And obviously like Minnesota was the biggest state. And then it'd be like Wisconsin and like the Dakotas, kind of Vikings territory. But once you got outside those 5 states, including Iowa, the next biggest state for consumption for Vikings content was Virginia. And we always thought it was some weird glitch in the Google Analytics matrix or something. But the more that we've now the last 5 years gotten into YouTube and podcasting, Virginia has just been this abnormally large contingent of people that consume Purple Daily and Vikings content. How and why are there so many of you guys in Virginia?
I don't know. And honestly, I don't get it, because I rarely run into Vikings fans here. Like, I don't have any friends in my friend group who are Vikings fans. There is one other student at Virginia Tech that I've seen wear a Vikings jersey ever. And I like, you guys talk about how there's a bunch of Vikings fans in Virginia, and I don't see them, but
they're just in the shadows. They're just lurking around.
You should be Commanders territory. That I'm sure it is, but
people probably there's probably like 2 generations of people that tried to be Commanders fans or Redskins fans back in the day, and they're like, I'm good on this.
I'm out.
Yeah. So, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to start with Alex, and then we're going to go Camden, over to Judd, Dex, back to me. We'll make 3 trips around the room here.
Write this down.
Alex, you're first out of the gate. What's your first prediction, man?
All right. Well, I'm going to use this one first so no one takes it. Shedeur Sanders will play in at least one game this year.
Oh,
yeah. They got to figure out. Who they're cutting from that beefy quarterback room.
Jimmy
they have
Haslam will see to it.
I just think it's more for the intention to put seats in the stands. You know.
Yeah. Well, if you're the Browns, you don't have much of a hope of winning double-digit games in that division, so you might as well get some extra concession money.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
Mm-hmm. Write this down.
All right, Camden.
Okay, so this one is going to be based on the Vikings Commanders game this season. Write this down. That game, when they announce the schedule, if it's set right then and there, or if they flex it, that game will be a primetime game. I think with JJ McCarthy and oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the quarterback. Yeah, Jane Daniels. With those 2 being from the same draft, first-round picks, also with Jonathan Allen being on the Vikings now, I think that'll be flexed to a prime. Regardless, it'll be played as a primetime slot.
Yeah, I love it. Love where you're going there.
Down.
All right, over to Judley.
Sam Howell will throw 5 or more passes for the Vikings this season. Sam Howell will throw 5 or more passes. I think Mullins, what was Mullins at? 4, 3. I think he was
last year.
I think he completed them all, which is hilariously funny. But
he's the king of just coming in.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 3rd and 13, and it's a huge high leverage play.
But then you got to get him out
one
because the next pass is going to a defensive back. So I'm going Sam Howell 5 or more passes.
Nick Mullins was 2 for 2 last year, 38 yards, 2 first downs.
Yep.
And I think both were
Aaron
third
Jones,
down plays.
Right? I think Aaron Jones caught them both.
Well, one of them was like a 3rd and 17.
The Jets game.
And he hit Aaron Jones on that it was like a clear out, and Jones came underneath.
And I think the other one was maybe against the Bears in Chicago. So Sam Howell will throw more passes, though.
I love that prediction.
Write that down.
All right, Dex.
Phil, do I have a Vikings Seahawks primetime prediction in the can already for the schedule release? I think I made this, and if I made it, it's fine. I have an audible for the game, but I just want to make sure I have this. I already have that on the record.
You've got Vikings and Seahawks will be a primetime game with the initial schedule release.
Okay. So write this down instead. I'll make another prediction about that game. The Vikings-Seahawks game will not be played in December. And this is kind of a check down, but they're always in September.
This is a touchdown, actually, if this happens.
Because it's always week 16, around Christmas time. Elements are terrible. I'm going to say for the first time, and God knows when, the Vikings and Seahawks are going to play a game in September, October, or November. And if this is December 1st, or I don't know what the first December day is in for Sunday or for football, but I'm
let's
pissed.
see what your odds are. How many Sundays
Was the last time the Vikings played Seattle in Seattle that wasn't late in the season? Was that the 2006 Chester Taylor 98 or 99 yard touchdown run game? Because that game was in the fall.
The first possible December game would be December 4th, which is a Thursday.
Or a Monday. Could be December 1st is a Monday.
Yeah.
So you have in terms of the weeks that this game could fall on, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks this could fall on. And the last day of December is a Wednesday. I don't think they would do would they do New Year's Eve games on Wednesday the 31st? Oh, that would be great encroachment. Yeah. Just get in there.
Oh, they don't care anymore.
That's right. It's a Wednesday, and we don't care. It's a back-to-back.
Can we?
They should make teams play back-to-backs like in other sports.
Poor college is can we just have this day? They're like, no, not anymore. You can't.
Nope. No, you can't have anything. We're sorry.
Write this down.
Okay, I have a Vikings UDFA prediction here. I'm trying to decide if I want to go aggressive and do a parlay. I'll go with this one. I'm just going to go, it's not a parlay. I'm just going to say, I think Logan Brown, Jeremiah Searles' guy, he was a top 140 consensus big board player. He was one of the most athletic in terms of measurements, offensive tackles in the draft. He winds up going undrafted, and the Vikings snagged him. He was the number 1 offensive tackle UDFA available. Vikings got him. He makes the 53. Logan Brown will make the Vikings 53-man roster.
I like it.
Write it down.
Write this down.
A behemoth of a man. Okay, back to Alex for your second prediction.
Okay, Ty Felton, because we're expecting a suspension, right? So for Jordan Addison, Ty Felton will score a touchdown in the first 3 games.
Oh, Alex.
I like this.
Let's go, dude. Off the record, what kind of a player are we thinking? Little bubble screen?
Yeah, a bubble screen or maybe even a kick return.
Oh.
But if like I said, if he's out, I can definitely see him being the 3rd wide receiver.
Yeah. All right. Good stuff, Alex.
Write this down.
Okay, Camden, what's your second prediction?
You kind of sniped me there. I had a very similar prediction. I was going to say at least 2 touchdowns in the first 5 games, but I think I'm going to transition to somewhere to a different prediction here. Yeah. Let's go with this. Russell Wilson will start the season for the Giants, but Jackson Dart will be taking that starting role by week 10.
Okay.
Boy, the Giants are such an interesting case right now.
If Jackson Dart has to start by week 10, Brian Dable's out week 12.
Yeah, or is he out week 9?
Yeah, true. That's a good point. And then, touche.
I genuinely think it's just going to be the fans calling Jackson Dart's name. I think it's just going to be one of those things where the media is going to push it too hard. But
it's in that town too.
Isn't it kind of wild? The Giants have gone from being this patient, well-respected, great roster organization for years, and they had a little weird stretch maybe in the early 2000s, and now they're just kind of
they were awful in the 70s until Parcells came on board in 80 or so, and then they took off and were great. But since then they had sort of just been this stable team, and now they are. I mean, they are closer to the Jets than I imagine possible. So
yeah.
All right. So in 1994, I was at Lambeau Field opening weekend of the season to watch the Vikings and Colts, and I at that time played fantasy football. And I was looking at the scoreboard, and I saw the Packers. I saw the Colts kept scoring touchdowns in their game. Come to find out that a young man named Marshall Faulk, I think he scored 3 touchdowns in his first game. I think history's going to repeat itself. Ashton Jeanty will have no fewer than 2 touchdown passes in week 1 for the Raiders. So Ashton Jeanty will have, in his first game, will have no fewer than 2 touchdowns in week 1 for the Raiders.
Okay, you said touchdown passes.
Oh, touchdown.
The first time around.
I'm sorry. I'm caffeined up because of my lack of sleep. I knew this would happen. I am going on fumes. Ashton Jeanty will have at least 2 touchdowns in week 1.
Real quick. It was such a journey because you went from Packers and Colts to fantasy football to Marshall Faulk.
Marshall Faulk had a great
Ashton
Wait,
Jeanty.
yeah. Can you clarify the beginning of that? So you said you were at
I was at
Lambeau
Lambeau
Field
Field.
watching Vikings and Colts.
Yeah, I corrected myself. I said Vikings and Packers.
Okay.
I was at Lambeau Field, and I think the Colts might have played like the Oilers in week 1. But anyway, I had drafted Marshall Faulk because I'm like, I think this kid's pretty good. And he scored 3 touchdowns. Ashton Jeanty's going to have the same immediate impact that a Marshall Faulk did.
I have a quick, sort of the game within the game question here. Mm-hmm. If Judd wouldn't have clarified, like he repeated the prediction in the way that he wanted to.
Declan, I could tell from Declan's face that I had screwed up what I said. So I was going to ask, what did I say wrong?
See, I was trying to poker face it, and I was willing to let the prediction stand as it was thrown out there.
Declan just saved your bacon during the accountability session.
Yeah, exactly. I am aligned with Declan right now.
Yeah.
I have in this particular show, I have no allegiance to you right now.
Well, I was up so late last night doing Ventline, very spirited. I'm still upset by the Wild's loss. That I misspoke. Spurgeon,
over to
Write this down.
Pominville. Okay, where are we at? I think it's Declan's turn.
Yeah. All right, write this down. This is a fun one. I feel pretty good about it. JJ McCarthy will acknowledge Judd by name at some point in a press conference or off the beaten path scrum between now and the start of the season.
But you got to hear it, right? So
here's the thing: either in a press conference, yes, we'll obviously hear it.
Yeah.
I would prefer if he acknowledges you by name that you would let us know that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I mean, we trust you.
I don't know why right now.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but okay, yeah.
I just helped you out.
Now, no, you did. Now, here's what's intriguing about this, though. Yesterday at his presser, he acknowledged Mike Max. He acknowledged Kevin Seifert. He acknowledged Alec Lewis, but he acknowledged no one else. And
He's still learning the names probably, right?
He was learning them in training camp last year. And like Ben Gessling of the Star Tribune asked him a bunch of questions. He has talked one-on-one with Ben. He knows Ben's name.
And he didn't say Ben's name.
I'm just saying that I'm not.
Controversy.
I'm just saying that it's a good prediction. I love it. It's fun, but it's interesting. Like I'm like.
Would you feel a little sad? Like if he's.
No.
Hey, Kevin, Kevin, I'm so thankful that you asked that question. I think that he literally said, Kevin, thank you for asking that question. If he's giving you that sort of, hey, I'm giving you the nod of approval, and then he ignores it for the next guy, I would feel
right.
I would feel kind of sad, I guess.
I'm just saying I was very intrigued by that. I thought we were going to get an acknowledgement of everyone on the beat then. You know, Gessling, for instance, Alec, Kevin, he did. I think Dane of the
Mizutani got one.
Press asked a question, but he didn't get acknowledged.
He didn't get one.
The Sports Media Gossip Podcast will launch it. We got to do it at this point. Is there tension between players and beat writers?
Does JJ McCarthy like Kevin Seifert more than Ben Gessling?
I'm just saying it was I was a little bit surprised. It was a little bit scattered who he was acknowledging and who he wasn't.
You should actually ask that question to him. Forget about these football questions. JJ, how many of the people here in these press conference scrums do you feel comfortable like knowing their names?
I mean, Dawn Mitchell, she asked a bunch of questions. No
didn't get an acknowledgement. Wow.
But Maxie did.
Yeah. Disrespectful. Okay, write this down.
Write that down.
Bill Belichick and his girlfriend will be separated by the end of the 2025 calendar year.
I love that.
Bill Belichick, I think this is becoming, I don't know that there's either like a reason why he is trapped in this relationship that he can't talk about, or it's at some point like all this negative publicity. He's going on this book tour, the 60 Minutes thing. It's all just blowing back in his face.
I love this. Yeah.
It's all weird. So I think he's either going to just be like, I don't need this anymore, or something's going to happen, or she's going to move on to her next Hugh Hefner or whatever. So I'm going to say by the end of the calendar year, those two will be broken up, no longer in a relationship.
You can't leave your muse, can you?
We're not talking about this. We're not talking about this.
Write this down.
Okay, back to Alex for your final prediction.
Okay, I'm going to go with a sentimental one for you guys. Judd, you're going to love this one.
Nice.
Okay, so for his first home game, JJ McCarthy's first home game, Tommy Kramer will blow the Gallahorn.
Okay, yeah.
Oh,
number 9.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
I love that. Yes. Nice
It's a good one.
work
I thought they might dust off JJ for one of those late games, but they were really meticulous about it. That was the first time that the media got to even officially be around him for 6 months? October or something?
Yeah, and I think for the most part, if you think back, I think most of the national press that he has done, that he did during the Super Bowl or around that time, was all set up by endorsements.
Okay.
I don't know that the Vikings actually set up any of that.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, they've been very, very active in making sure he doesn't do media. The Vikings have. So we'll see if that benefits long term. I guess they just want to quiet the noise and the buzz. So Alex, great stuff, man. And a happy belated birthday to you, since you've got this life-changing platform here on Purple Daily. Is there anyone you'd like to thank today?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my dad, because obviously he got me season tickets for the Vikings from through all the 80s and 90s, or up till 1990 when I went to college. So, and then my sister and brother for going through all the games with me. So that was
nice.
Awesome, man. Well, Alex, great job with your predictions.
Yeah.
Good luck with
Met
them.
Stadium. Saws being taken out. Yeah. Things just hey, can I get as many bleachers? People were ripping the box seats out too,
so awesome.
Unscrewing stuff to take the box seats.
It was just wild. We saw it as we were walking out. We're like, we gotta run.
Just pure chaos.
Yep.
Pure chaos.
Love it.
All right, Alex. Hopefully we can catch up again sometime soon. Good luck to you. Camden, what's your final prediction?
So this one's going to be Travis Hunter prediction. There was all this steam about how he can play both positions, wide receiver and cornerback. I think coming into the NFL, I don't think that's really going to matter. I think it's just going to be one or the other. So write this down. Travis Hunter will only be a wide receiver for the first season.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot, man. Yeah. So Jeremiah was making the point on O-line committee yesterday that the wear and tear, think about the wear and tear of football in general, but then playing twice as many snaps.
Yeah.
Right.
And he was saying from an agent perspective, your guy might be cooked completely by the time he gets to the big money contract. And so it'd be smart to kind of ease your way in. But from a team perspective, if you're the Jaguars, you could say, you know what? He's a 5-year player. Let's not worry about the big contract after the 5th year, and let's just ride him into the ground while he's super cheap, because you're getting one player potentially times 2 for a rookie scale. It could be one of the greatest discounted players in the history of the NFL if he plays both ways at a high level.
Mm-hmm.
So
just a package of plays on one side of the ball. Just a package.
Just ease him in.
Yeah.
Great stuff, Camden. Representing the mysterious Virginia contingent of Vikings fans. Is there anyone you want to shout out or say thanks to here today?
Well, first, obviously, I'll thank my dad for getting me into being a Vikings fan. He's never been to Minnesota either, but, he brought it on me, even though it pains me to be a Vikings fan. It's been great. I also want to thank my friend Connor for when I decided to become more serious about sports. He helped me kind of understand football a little more. And then I want to give future thanks to my girlfriend, who I will be living with in a couple of months, who is not yet prepared for my Vikings fandom. So,
I feel like these are the important conversations that couples need to have before.
I hope she's prepared to tackle the assignment of what Sundays are going to be like in your home.
Well, she graduated from University of Tennessee, and she's way stronger of a fan for Tennessee than I am a Vikings fan, honestly. She's pretty hardcore.
You're fine then. Vols fans are nuts.
Okay.
They're crazy.
So you guys all agree on Ty Chandler hopefully making the 53 again this year, basically. That's
yeah, absolutely.
So, hey, Camden, awesome stuff, man. Hopefully we can see you again sometime in the future. Good luck with your predictions.
Thank you.
All right. Guest listener predictor Camden and Alex. Before we make our final predictions here, a shout out to Federated Insurance, Federated Mutual Insurance Company, helping to power not only Purple Daily, but our entire Score North network as we continue to build this thing over the past 5 years and into the future. So we thank them for their partnership. They've also been partnering over 120 years with countless businesses to give them frontline protection, risk management tools, and strategies. Federated Insurance and their corporate culture are all about equity, integrity, teamwork, and respect. They bring those 4 cornerstones to all of their partnerships. You can find a full list of industries that they specialize in and see if they can help you as a business owner. Federatedinsurance.com, where it's our business to protect yours. 2 men in a truck helping the Goff family this time.
Oh, thank goodness. In fact, I just got a text from them. Dex, you're all good for the Saturday move this coming Saturday. And yes, we are. We've been doing some stuff, right? We filled our cars. We've been moving some stuff over the last week plus. But on Saturday, the first night in the brand new house, and it's all because of our friends at 2 Men in a Truck, getting all that big furniture out of here. They're handling all that stuff. What they quote is what you pay, no hidden fees, no weird service charges. They'll help you also simplify that move. They'll just send over you even a spreadsheet that says, what do you need moved out of that house? So go to 2meninatruck.com to find a location near you and tell them that Purple Daily sent you. Go to 2meninatruck.com.
Also, Dennis Kirk is here to help us get through Write That Down predictions today. They're also here for riding season. And finally this weekend, it's going to be in the 70s in the Twin Cities, sunny, best weekend weather-wise, at least on paper, of the year so far. So if you're looking to dust off that motorcycle, ATVs, UTVs, maybe you're a dirt bike rider, for all you Ragnars out there, Dennis Kirk has you covered with over 185,000 parts, apparel, and accessories. All of the top brands for riding season. Same-day shipping when you place an order by 6 o'clock Central Time, and free shipping on orders over $89. Find out more at DennisKirk.com.
Write that down.
All right, Judd, third and final prediction.
All right, so I like your Belichick track here. I think it's something's odd. Something's very odd. Beyond his girlfriend, something's weird with him too. So write this down. Bill Belichick will not be the North Carolina head football coach in 2026. He's either something's going to happen here. Like this is clearly it's now crystal clear why no NFL team hired him.
Yeah.
And I think North Carolina fell for oh my God, it's Bill Belichick and he'll coach for us, which seems sort of odd, but whatever. But now that you see it in action, he won't be the football coach there in 20. There is no way that guy is going to identify with most college kids. Clearly with his girlfriend he does, and she's barely not a college kid, but something's weird. So
there's a lot of guys that are like, oh hell yeah, man, yeah, go get it. It's just good for Bill dating a 26-year-old. It's weird.
Well, it was sort of weird before and sort of funny before, and then you read about the behind the scenes from the CBS sit down where she constantly interrupted, and
why is he
played
like
the one thing
allowing
because
that?
it was so
Dude,
bad. Well,
why?
right.
It's like, Bill, you're in charge here, Bill. This is your career, your book.
She supposedly walked out at one point because she got so mad. So
weird.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. I think I feel like something's off more than just it being an odd relationship too.
Agreed.
Write this down.
All right, Dex.
All right, write this down. I'll make a Donovan Jackson prediction. So Donovan Jackson starts week 1, and he will not allow a pressure.
Ooh.
Yep.
Okay.
So I mean,
that'd be a nice little change of pace.
I think he likely is the week 1 starter at guard. It's still not a certainty. I think it's tracking that way, but I'll say he starts week 1 and he won't allow a pressure. The rare prediction that I'm pushing out like 6 months in advance. So
yeah, this would be a tough one to track that far out for Dex. I got a couple different options here. A little Dallas Turner one. I think I'm gonna go with this one. So in the regular season last year, the Vikings, they ran the ball 30 or more times, only 5 times in the regular season. I'm gonna say this. Write this down. Week 1, I don't know who they're gonna play yet, but week 1, the Vikings will run the ball at least 30 times. I don't think it's a touchdown because, they got a first-year starting quarterback.
Sure.
But I think with all their newfound, we've been talking so much about how the new offensive linemen help the pass protection, which is true. But equally or more so, they help in the run blocking game. And then Jordan Mason. So I think they're going to pound the rock early, insulate JJ McCarthy, leverage some play action, and they're going to run the ball at least 30 times. They did it against the Jets, the Colts, the Titans, the Jaguars, the Jaguars and the Packers, the September game against the Packers.
The Jaguars, they had to.
Yeah. old Sammy Darnold was not quite honed in accuracy-wise.
That was the preview of the Detroit game. It's hey, just keep in mind he can still go back to being Sam Darnold.
Hey, so why don't you take a deep breath there, guy? So, all right, boys, I think what we'll do, so we're going to pump out a bonus episode today. And originally we were going to talk Andrew Van Ginkel and the contract extension here. But for time purposes, bonus episode, we'll go through some of the key things JJ McCarthy said and also the Andrew Van Ginkel 1-year contract extension and kind of what that means. And we'll go football-y football and break down some of that news from yesterday on a separate episode. You can find the OG edition of Write That Down on the Score North YouTube channel and the Mackey and Judd podcast feeds. And then tomorrow, it's Thursday, and a full breakdown of the Vikings' 19 undrafted free agents, where they are once again, for the third straight year, being lauded for nailing the UDFA class.
Will Thor have slept? That's the question that I think is the most important one.
Has Thor slept since March 20th?
Has Thor allowed himself, just like one night, too? Sunday into Monday. Did he just get some sleep?
Yep. Unlikely, but we'll see. So there it is. The only shows in America that actually keep track of our predictions with statistics. Judd, Dex, I'm Phil. This is Purple Daily. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die. See ya.